Hey painting friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stoof, and today we're going to cover the topic of the color wheel. This is a very important topic that breaks it back down to the basics. This video was requested by you guys on my poll. I wanted to see if you wanted to go back down to this basic level of painting, and you all mostly said yes. So we're going to do that. And we're gonna create this color wheel. We're gonna talk about primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in the color wheel. And then we're gonna take our color wheel outside and we're gonna look at some actual things in nature and try to get a feel for what color we're actually seeing. I think many of us are taught in grade school to paint things a certain color, and that kind of sticks with you as an adult, and you need to break through that, and you need to see things for the color that they actually are, and you need to add a bunch of other little colors in there when you're painting. It's not just going to be a tree trunk is brown every time. That's not the case. But I think as we're growing up, we're taught that when we look at the sky is blue. When we look at leaves are green, but that's not the case when we're painting. And a lot of other things come into play other than just color. So the color might not be green, the color might be more of a yellow green, and then the value also comes into play there. Like there might be a highlight on a part of the leaf that has a brighter value and then a darker shadow on this section of the leaf that's under this one that would create a cooler color. So when you're creating a realistic painting, you're always going to have value and color working together. You need to be conscious of both of those things. But this video is going to focus on the color wheel. And then we're going to have another video that's going to focus more on values. There are a handful of things you need to think about when you're creating a painting. For example, is your perspective accurate? Are proportions accurate? But those things I cover more in my other videos, and I'll talk about as I'm working. For this video though, I want to focus more on the color wheel. If you are an aspiring artist or just enjoy art as a hobby and would like to learn more about art and painting in particular, then hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my videos that come out every Thursday. All right guys, let's dive into this color wheel together. All right guys, here is our color wheel. We have 3 primary colors. We'll put P for primary: red, blue, and yellow. Those are our primary colors, and they kind of just, you know, come together like this. And then we have secondary colors, which come when we mix these colors together. So red and blue equals violet. So this is a secondary color. Red and yellow make orange. Orange is also a secondary color. Yellow and blue make green. Green is a secondary color. So secondary colors are violet or purple. You know, people use the word violet or purple. They mean the same thing usually. Orange and green. And primary, red, yellow, blue. And then our tertiary colors are what you get when you combine a primary with a secondary. So if we combine red and orange, we'll get red-orange. And so on and so forth for the rest of the color wheel. A couple other things I want to talk about before I actually fill out this color wheel is that we have warm colors and we have cool colors. Warm colors are red, basically like this half is warm. And this half is cool. Red, orange, yellow. And then cool equals blue, green, violet. Okay, so that's just in general. General warm colors are red, orange, yellow. General cool colors are blue, green, violet. Now to make things even more complicated, we have red and cool versions of every color in this color wheel. So we have red, we have a cool red and we have a warm red. We can have a warm blue and a cool blue. We can have a warm yellow and a cooler yellow. All of these colors have a warm and cool variation of them. And that is where picking out your paint colors gets very difficult when you're making a painting. If you are brand new to painting, I recommend starting out with your primary colors, blending your secondary and tertiary colors, and then try to create other colors from these 3 primary colors. So one of my first painting lessons at the University of Pittsburgh was to blend colors. So first we're given red, blue, and yellow, and we're asked to make black. So you can create black by mixing red, blue, and yellow together, or get a color very close to black. It's also going to depend on if you have a red that's warm and cool, a blue that's warm and cool, or a yellow that's warm or cool. So there's a lot that comes into play here. But what we're going to do today first is fill out this color wheel. Then we're going to do some more color mixing. We're going to try to make some black. We are going to make some brown as well. I'm going to show you how to make brown. So first thing I want to do is show you guys that we have warm and cool versions of our colors. So this is my crimson red, and this is my cadmium red light. Those are both red, but you can see that they're very different. The cadmium red light almost looks like a red orange. It's a very warm red. And then my crimson red is a very cool red. One thing we are going to talk about in our next video is value, and we're going to do some tints, but for now I'm going to show you a quick tint. That just means I'm adding some white to both of these colors, and adding a tint can help you determine the warmth of your color. So I'm adding white to this. Again, I'm going to talk about this more next week in my value painting video, but I just want to show you really quickly because it's helpful in finding out if your color is warm or cool. And now we have my crimson red. Now you can see that I've added white to it. How different these 2 colors are. So that is a helpful tip in determining if your color is warm or cool, if you don't just already know it by looking at the name of the color. All right, coming back to our color wheel, I'm gonna add some cadmium red hue. This one is kind of in between the 2. It's more of just a primary red. It's not too warm and it's not too cool, so that's what I'm gonna use for the color wheel. This is just a cadmium red hue. And then for yellow, our second primary color, this is just called primary yellow. So you know that it is the right yellow because it's called primary yellow. This is Liquitex Basics. This is a nice budget-friendly acrylic paint brand. And then for blue, blue is also a little tricky because I have a hard time finding a blue that is not warm or cool. So this is ultramarine blue, and this one is phthalo blue. My ultramarine blue is a cooler blue, and my phthalo blue is a warmer blue. For some reason, this causes a lot of argument over the internet. Some people think that phthalo blue is a cool blue, and it's up to you. I personally think that phthalo blue is a warmer blue, especially when we do the tint. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna blend these 2 blues together, and then that kind of gives me a primary blue. So I'm mixing a blue that's cool with a blue that's warm, and it's giving me more of the primary blue color. So while I got this blue on my brush, I'm gonna fill in my blue for primary color blue. And I'm not gonna make this perfect, so don't judge me on keeping my paint in the lines. All right, we got blue. Next, let's go to yellow. It's our second primary color. Just filling in our little spot for yellow. And if you guys would like to recreate this color wheel, if you want to download a color wheel, I will leave a link to where I found this one under the video in the description, so you guys can practice your color wheel too. And then we're going to take just this cadmium red, put this right here, And now we've got our primary colors on the color wheel. Next, we want to create our secondary colors. And the traditional way to create your secondary colors is to mix equal amounts of red and yellow to make orange, equal amounts of blue and yellow to make green, and equal amounts of blue and red to make violet. This is not always the case. Depending on your brand of paint, the amount of pigment in your paint, you might not need to use equal amounts. You might need to use a lot more yellow than red to create orange, because your yellow may not be as strongly pigmented as the red in your brand of paint that you bought. So the paint brand, the quality of the paint is going to determine how much of each color you need. It's not always as simple as it looks, all right guys? Okay, so we're gonna create orange by mixing red and yellow. Let's try equal amounts first and see what happens. Actually, there's a little more yellow than red, because I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna need. And I would say, so this is a very budget-friendly brand. This is a more expensive brand. I need a lot more of this yellow because this yellow doesn't have as much pigment in it. So look, I basically made red orange, but I wanted to make orange. So we're gonna add even more yellow. And now you can see we have like an orange. So this time around, because I was mixing a highly pigmented red with a cheaper yellow, it took a lot more to get orange. It took a lot more yellow than red to get orange. So keep that in mind as well. It's not always going to be equal amounts of each color. There's our orange. And while we have red, orange, let's just go ahead and put that down there too. So look how pretty that looks, very nice. Next, let's add some more yellow. So basically we're mixing orange with yellow, and it's giving us orange yellow. And when you buy your paint, some brands of paint will tell you the opacity of your paint, which means how opaque versus how translucent it is. Is the paint see-through, or is it just like a block of color that you can't see through? Is it very opaque? So this example here, this cadmium-free yellow medium, is more of a warm yellow, and this opaque, it says this one is opaque, but the primary yellow that I used is semi-opaque. So that's why we can see through this white and the line, like the black line underneath, because it's semi-opaque. This is the yellow that I used to blend. All right, now let's make some green. We got some blue with some yellow. And I would say this looks like a cool green. But it's still pretty. Here's our green, we're just gonna fill that in. And then we'll make some blue-green by mixing a little bit of blue with our green. A little bit more blue. And that looks good too. So we're creating our tertiary color by mixing primary and secondary colors together. And then we're gonna clean off the brush there, take some more yellow, mix yellow with green. Then we just mix green and yellow to make yellow green. And as you can see again, this is semi-translucent. We can kind of see through. You can see the black line underneath. Looks good. I'm gonna clean off our brush and move over here. Now we're gonna mix red with blue, and that should give us violet. And violet always looks really dark on the color wheel. I think I need a little more red. A little more red. All right, there's our violet. So red and blue equals violet. And then we're gonna mix some more red with our violet. And that gives us a very nice red violet. And these colors are opaque. You can't really see that black line underneath. And then we're gonna mix some blue with the violet. And that gives us blue violet. There we go, look at that beautiful color wheel, it's so nice. Okay guys, we're gonna let this sit for a bit and then I'm going to talk about how we create black and how we create brown. Okay, so now we've got our color wheel filled out. We've got our primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors. Now I want to talk to you guys about complementary colors. So complementary colors are colors across from each other on the color wheel. So red and green are complementary to each other. Orange and blue are complementary to each other. And it's usually a primary and a secondary color. Violet is complementary to yellow. So complementary colors blended together will make like a brown earthy color, and they're all gonna vary. They're not gonna be the exact same brown. So I'll show you these three browns we're going to create, and I'm also going to talk about how complementary colors are used in painting. So we're going to mix red with green. So we made this green color, we're going to mix some red into it. And you can see we've got this brown color here. Here's red and green. And then we've got orange and blue. So we're gonna mix blue with our orange. I don't want that much blue. And maybe a little more. Let's take all of my orange. Orange was not strong enough. We're gonna take a little bit, mix a little more orange in there. There we go. Okay, here's orange and blue. It actually does look pretty similar. And then violet and yellow. Take some yellow. Nope, this was our violet. So they're all slightly different. But those are our three browns we made. Next, we're gonna make black. And the way you make black is technically by mixing all three of your primary colors. And you kind of have to play around with this a little bit. This is a little bit easier to do using oil paint than acrylic paint. For some reason, I find blending oil paint easier, like getting the right colors. Mixing acrylic paint doesn't always work out for me the way that I want it to. So that's basically our black color. It's not pure black, but it's pretty close. All right, so that is the basics of the color wheel. Now let's take this color wheel outside and we're gonna look at some colors in nature. Welcome to my backyard. One helpful tip to get your colors accurate when you're painting is to hold up your color wheel, whether you're painting outside in plein air, which means you're just painting what you see in nature in front of you, or if you're painting from looking at a reference photograph. hold up your color wheel and try to pinpoint what the color is that you're looking at that you want to paint. And by matching this color wheel up with what you see, it can help you to paint the right color onto your canvas. So we're gonna start by just holding our color wheel up and looking at some things. So you can see the grass behind me here. Let's look at this. There's a highlight from the sun there. So you can see that the grass in shadow is more of a blue-green, and the grass where the light is hitting it is more of a yellow-green. See over there? Right there? That's more of a yellow-green, and the grass in shadow is more of a blue-green. All right, let's take a look at this tree, guys. So this tree has a lot of colors in it. We've got some reds, browns, oranges, purples, blues, grays, and we've got some different values going on here as well, but we're not going to talk about the values. We're going to focus more on the colors. So looking at this right in here, what do you guys see for that? To me, this looks like a red violet with a tint, so it's like our red violet here, but add some white. So red violet's mostly the color we've got there. There's also some brown, like red and green maybe blended in there as well. Let's look right down here at this. Where's this on the color wheel? This is more like a red-orange in here. And then this here is more on the blue-violet side. So we have a lot of colors going on in this tree here. It's not just brown. All right, this is my stone patio. This one here is almost a mix between these two colors, maybe with a little brown mixed in as well. Got these nice flowers back here. Some of them are dead. So for flowers, what do we have? Like, this is like a tint of red. Maybe somewhere between red-violet even. Looks pretty close to red-violet, between red and red-violet. And then this dead one up here, this guy. Where's this guy look on the color chart? Kind of closer to yellow-orange, maybe the brown, close to that red and green color. So blending those two together might get you something close to what we're looking for. How about our pot here? This plant pot has some white added into it, but it's kind of a tricky one actually. It's not that true blue. It's warmer than that, but it's not blue-green. I would say it's somewhere between blue and blue-green, and it's got a tint to it, so there's definitely some white added to the blue plus blue-green to get this color. It's like a teal. If you guys get outside in the early morning or late at night, right around sunset time, you're going to see a completely different range of colors than you're seeing right now midday. The colors change throughout the day, so having that color wheel with you can help you to paint the color that you're actually seeing, not just the color that you think you're seeing. Now let's take a look at how this color wheel can affect your paintings, how it affects the mood of your paintings, the attention grab factor, and things like that. We're going to take a look at some of my paintings and talk about use of color in these paintings. First, we're going to look at my painting called Compliments of Sunset Point. This painting is titled Compliments of Sunset Point due to the complementary colors in this piece. The sky is blue, the rocks are that orange, red-orange, orange-yellow color. We have blue and purples in the shadows of the snow. We have more yellow-orange in the rocks of the foreground. And we have some red violets and some greens in there as well. So there's just a lot going on with complementary colors in this painting. Using complementary colors in one section of a painting, putting purple and yellow right next to each other and keeping the rest of the painting more neutral will draw your attention right into that specific spot where the complementary colors are next to each other. However, this painting is one of my Impressionism style pieces, one of the few, and we have complementary colors all over the painting again. So our eye is drawn into this because of the crazy amount of complementary colors, but it doesn't quite follow or go to one specific area because we have complementary colors throughout the entire painting. So if you want to focus someone's attention in on a specific part of your painting, you can use complementary colors there and then use more neutral tones for the rest of your painting. This painting here is not so crazy with complementary colors, but we do have orange and blue. Blue in the sky, orange in the rocks. And then our foreground feels much more muted because we have that blue, blue-violet turning into green, keeping that cooler palette where things are in shadow. So our eye is drawn into more of that reddish-orange rock with the blue sky in the background. So our eye is taken right to the back part of this landscape scene because we have the complementary colors there, and the colors in the foreground are more analogous. Analogous colors on the color wheel are colors that are next to each other. Complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. Analogous colors are next to each other on the color wheel. These paintings use more of the analogous color scheme to create more of a calm mood. This is a painting of vernal fall in Yosemite. Most of the bottom part of this painting was in shadow. We follow the blue, purple, green analogous colors that are all near each other, and it makes the painting have more of a calm feel, even though it's a rushing waterfall going over this cliff. You don't feel that power and danger of being this close to a massive waterfall because the colors in the painting are calm and a little bit more muted as well. They're not super vivid either. This next painting is of the Everglades. This painting is brighter, more vivid in color. However, I'm still using more analogous colors here. We're sticking more to the blue, green, yellow side of the color wheel, keeping things more in harmony with each other. I warmed up some of the yellows in the tall grasses in the wetland there, just to make them stand out more from the lilies. But in general, these paintings don't have a lot of complementary color action going on, so your mood is more calm. So think about these things when you are using color in your paintings. When I first started my career professionally as an artist, I really just wanted to paint things that I thought were beautiful. I wasn't really thinking about the color wheel. And then as I became more experienced, my eye was just naturally drawn to subjects that had more complementary colors in them. And I didn't really notice that until recently. So hopefully that can benefit you as well as an artist. You don't always have to paint exactly what you see for it to be realistic. You could create a very realistic painting where you make adjustments in your painting from what you saw in real life. For example, if you're painting an autumn landscape with a tree-covered hillside and a barn in the scene, and all of the trees are red and orange, then you could throw some blues into the barn, maybe put a little bit of green grass in front of the barn, just to complement the colors out and make your viewer be more drawn into your painting. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Coming up next is a video on value in painting, so we're gonna find out more about that next week. But for now, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. And if you have any requests for painting tutorials or art lesson videos that you'd like to see, then just leave a comment under this video and I will add your request to my list of things to paint. Thanks again for watching, have a great day, and happy painting. Bye-bye!